on, people? LP2000 right back at you with another video. Yes, welcome back to Leslie Chambers Kaiju Reviews on behalf of Summit Kaiju, on behalf of Collect All Monsters. And I'm back with another great X Plus figure review. Yes. And as you can see here, this guy needs no introduction, but obviously I'm going to give him one anyway. Yes, my most favorite villain of all time in the Godzilla film franchise. And we have a stunning representation of that villain in this review for today. And today we're taking a look at the X Plus 25cm King Ghidorah 1964 Ric Exclusive Edition, based off his iconic appearance in the first ever film involving King Ghidorah, 1964's Ghidorah, the three-headed monster. And as you can see, I have the beautiful figure here. Oh my God, he is beautiful. Yes, he is. Let's just get that out the way right now, ladies and gentlemen. This guy is such an impressive, awesome, brilliant piece, courtesy of the awesome people at X Plus. Yes. And, you know, do things right here. Let's get into the box before we get into the figure. And this is a picture of the box. Now, mind you, I do have the standard version of King Ghidorah that comes in his iconic golden paint scheme. And the boxes pretty much are the same between the standard and the Ric. Just the Ric comes with the yellow sticker signifying that it is a Ric, but pretty much it's the same box. But the artwork on the box is really stunning. Just a black silhouette picture of the figure in the front, you know what I'm saying? Menacing, destructive, deadly King Ghidorah. And I really do enjoy the box. Now, once again, this is the X Plus 25cm Ric Exclusive Edition of King Ghidorah 1964. And as I mentioned just now, with the iconic golden paint scheme, that's the thing. This King Ghidorah is not golden. He's not his iconic paint scheme that we have seen him throughout the many years of him being a kaiju in the tokusatsu game. Of course, this is based off basically early promotional pictures and the poster for Ghidorah the Three-Headed Monster. And towards the tail end of the video, I will go into more detail about this paint scheme, because there is a vast backstory behind this paint scheme. Now let's go into backstory with this figure. Now this figure came out originally last year, I believe May 2019. Now when I opted to get King Ghidorah, or at least get this figure of King Ghidorah 64, I wanted obviously the standard, which was the golden paint King Ghidorah. And I did that because obviously I'm huge into setups and I want the exact monsters from the exact movie to create the perfect setup. And even though I was intrigued by this paint scheme, I really wanted the standard more. That way I could have the complete monster setup with the complete monsters from the movie. Even though I did in the back of my mind say, you know what, if I had opportunity to go back and get this figure, I probably would. But at the time, because May was, if you remember last year, May of 2019, May almost broke a lot of our bank accounts and our wallets just that month alone. Because the gigantic Godzilla 1989 from X Plus came out, the Sakai 2002 Godzilla from X Plus came out, the Ric Exclusive 25cm Monster X came out, and King Ghidorah came out. I think a couple other Ultraman pieces came out that month too. So X Plus was really trying to stick it to us that month, and me specifically, I got the 89 2002 Monster X and King Ghidorah. And even though this was on the back of my mind, I knew I couldn't afford it at the time. So a few months went by, and I would see other people get their King Ghidorahs and stuff like that, or at least this Ric Exclusive version of King Ghidorah, and it got the wheels of my mind turning, saying, you know what? If you can find one for a good price, please go after one. And I said, you know what? I'm going to do it. And that's exactly what happened. So I happened to look up on Mondarake one day and found one for a good price. And here he is in all his red, white, and blue glory. Of course, this is the Rainbow Ghidorah. Some people call it the American Ghidorah or the French Ghidorah. You know what I mean? But once again, this is based off early promotional pictures and the poster to Ghidorah the Three-Headed Monster. And I'll cover more of that in the tail end of this video. So that's pretty much it with the backstory about me getting this figure. Because once again, I'm a huge King Ghidorah fan. He's my most favorite villain in the franchise. And I'm so glad to have this figure. So, you know, I do things around here. Let's get up close and personal. But you know what? Here's what we're going to do. I'm going to bring forth the standard King Ghidorah in inserts and just show you the difference between the two. And let's do that right now. So as you can see, the sculpts between both King Ghidorahs are the same. The head positions are the same. The wing positions are the same. It's just the paint scheme is just different. But the sculpts on both King Ghidorah figures, excuse me, are awesome. They really are awesome. And once again, by me having this figure, because normally with the standard King Ghidorah, I used to use that King Ghidorah to alternate my setups between Ghidorah the Three-Headed Monster and Monster Zero. But now, by me having this red, white, and blue beautiful monstrosity, I now have my complete separate Ghidorah the Three-Headed Monster setup, my Monster Zero setup, and now not have to really alternate between setups with one King Ghidorah. So that was really the main reason why I wanted to get this King Ghidorah. Plus the backstory behind the King Ghidorah is very, very vast and very, very interesting. So those were really the main two reasons why I wanted to get this version of King Ghidorah. You see what I'm saying? But as you can see between the two King Ghidorahs, they're awesome. You know, both standard and Ric of the 64 King Ghidorah. My most favorite incarnation of King Ghidorah. My top three is the 64, 91, and the Monsterverse. You see what I'm saying? I'll detail towards the tail end as far as like what King Ghidorah figures in my collection are my top three. Spoiler alert, this guy is on that list. But pretty much between the two King Ghidorahs, they're awesome. They are so awesome. And I already, like I said, I've done a review of the standard King Ghidorah, so I'm not going to go into a lot of detail about the sculpt and all that good stuff, because I did that in that video. So you want to check it out. Please check it out. It's in the archives of my channel. But as I said, the sculpts between both King Ghidorahs are exactly the same. Now, of course, this was based off a retool sculpt of the 68 King Ghidorah, which a lot of people tend to look upon as like their favorite, even more so than this one, because of the way King Ghidorah's heads are positioned. Now, the common denominator between the 64 and 68 is really the top head right here. The top head is at least the middle head is positioned in the same spot between both King Ghidorahs. It's just the wing placement as well as the other two heads where it's different. Where the 68, his heads are more downwards, you know what I mean? And I think they're longer, because I think between the two suits, the 68 had longer heads than the 64. But I just love the 64 more. You see what I'm saying? But once again, S Plus just retooled the 68, made it 64, and that's what we have right here. But the sculpt is amazing on this guy, as I said. The paint job, really, let's focus on the paint job. Once again, you have red, white, and blue, kind of like a dirty red, white, and blue on the wings. You see what I'm saying? And actually, you know what? That's how I come to learn about this paint scheme. Because once again, this was based off early promotional pictures and the poster of the film. Now, I've seen the poster many times, and I did not notice that Ghidorah on the poster has this type of paint scheme. Now, mind you, on the poster, he has a golden body, blue heads, and the multicolored wings. But it took me getting this figure and hearing other people talk about it and going back and and look at the poster and say, wow, you know, it was really there. So it's nice that I was able to learn something that I thought I knew, but I really didn't know, and to go back and look at it and realize the whole time that King Ghidorah was really multicolored in the posters. So that was a good fact for me to know, especially after being in one frame of mind all this many years. But the paint job is great on the wings. The bulk of the body is mostly blue with little golden highlights here and there. You know what I'm saying? To give some homage to what King Ghidorah will look like in the end. The underbelly of his necks is kind of like a dirty golden, or like a beige, I should say. You know what I mean? The heads are mostly just are blue, just like the rest of the body, with dirty bone white on his horns and his crest here. Once again, the great thing about this version of King Ghidorah, as well as the Flying King Ghidorah, something they improved upon when it came to the other King Ghidorahs that S Plus has ever done. The horns on King Ghidorah are not made of ABS plastic, which has been prone to break off or snap off. They're made of vinyl, so they are not prone to snap off just, so easily. So be careful with that anyway. But it's nice that they incorporated that, because King Ghidorah, when it comes to S Plus, has not had the best reputation in the world. a la what happened with the first 68 release vinyl version in 2014. So when it came to King Ghidorah, at least involving King Ghidorah, where he's more so like this, I don't hear much of a problem with the GMK Death Ghidorah and Kaiser Ghidorah, but with this type of King Ghidorah, I know S Plus have had their problems. You see what I'm saying? But I'm glad that they were able to improve upon that, as well as the building of the figure, incorporating vinyl on the horns, like I said, as well as improving on the shipping process. They really have stepped their game up, and I'm so looking forward to the other King Ghidorahs that they have coming. We know for sure that Mecha King Ghidorah from the '91 film is coming, and it won't be surprised. It wouldn't surprise me that on a pre-order that just announced for the Large Monster Series 25 centimeter 2019 Godzilla from Godzilla King of the Monster 2019, that more likely we probably will get a MonsterVerse King Ghidorah from S Plus at some point. So hopefully by then, they'll have every problem that they have ever encountered involving King Ghidorah ironed out, so we can get the best possible figures of Mecha King Ghidorah and the MonsterVerse King Ghidorah. And once again, they have done a phenomenal job thus far. They really have. They learned from their mistakes. They're making improvements on their sculpts, and they have done a great job. But once again, top-notch job here with King Ghidorah from X Plus. Ric 64, from the paint job, the sculpt, the placement of the heads, the tongues, the teeth, individually sculpted. The eyes are colored really well. Once again, they've done a great job with this version of King Ghidorah, and I'm glad to finally have it in my collection after debating about it for so long. So let's go with the first and only size comparison. Let's bring up the three monsters he fought in Ghidorah the Three-Headed Monster with a 25 centimeter 64 Godzilla, Rodan, as well as a 25 centimeter 68 Martha Larva, which looks exactly like the 64 Martha, but you get the idea. So let's go with that first and only size comparison right now. Okay, folks, this is the first and only size comparison, and yes, alongside the Man of the Hour, the 25 centimeter X Plus Ric Exclusive edition of the 64 King Ghidorah, I have, yes, the monsters that opposed him in this awesome film to Ghidorah the Three-Headed Monster, with the 25 centimeter 1964 B Godzilla figure, as well as the 25 centimeter 1964 Rodan figure, and as well as the 25 centimeter 1968 Martha Larva. Now, this Martha Larva came with my Destroy All Monsters Volume 1 set with Mothra and Manda, but since they have not officially made a 25 centimeter 64 Martha Larva, at least in this size. Now, a couple have came with the 25 centimeter 64 Godzilla, the first Godzilla from Martha vs. Godzilla, but they're not really in scale, quite frankly, with the other monsters. They also made, with the 64B Godzilla here, the Ric version of that figure came with the mini flying Rodan 64 as well as a mini Martha Larva. But once again, those two monsters were not in scale with each other. But as you can see here, these monsters are perfectly in scale with each other. And you have basically a recreation of the awesome poster that I talked about earlier. And it's funny when you think about this film, considering how it took the appearance of King Ghidorah, this extraterrestrial, just killing machine that has a reputation of destroying civilizations and destroying other planets. It took the appearance of this awesome, deadly, intergalactic beast to bring forth Godzilla, Rodan, and Mothra coming together for the first time to battle this evil threat. And when you think about like 1991 King Ghidorah, one of the good things about that film, even though that film does get a lot of crap from Godzilla fans, say what you will about the film, I think the film is great. But one of the cool things about that film is the fact that during the film, Godzilla and King Ghidorah kind of swapped places, where in the beginning they looked upon Godzilla as a savior to take out King Ghidorah, but then Godzilla turns around and starts destroying Japan, so they have to rely on King Ghidorah to take out Godzilla. They kind of did a somewhat similar thing here in this film, where in the first part of the film, Rodan and Godzilla really... Between the four monsters, King Ghidorah and Mothra are pretty much the same throughout the film, right? Mothra has always been a good monster, you know what I'm saying? She's really the glue to bring the team of Godzilla and Rodan together to fight King Ghidorah. King Ghidorah has always been the villain. Of course, he's the antagonist. He's the evil entity of the film. So their roles haven't really changed. But with Godzilla and Rodan, they start off, destroying mankind, at least destroying Japan when they first appear. But with Mothra's persuasion, they end up becoming good guys. So really, when you think about it, you really are rooting against them when you first see them in the film. But by the end of the film, you're rooting for them to take out King Ghidorah. Great storytelling for Inoshiro Honda. But as you can see here, these monsters look so well together. You know what I'm saying? And just everything about this film is just awesome. You know, with Rodan appearing out of nowhere, Godzilla appearing out of nowhere. Then we have a monster that's deadlier than the both of them combined show up. Then you have Mothra coming in, and just the unlikely just team of Rodan, Mothra, and Godzilla having to deal with King Ghidorah. And the fight scene between all four of the monsters are awesome. And you have probably one of the best Godzilla films out there in the franchise, and it's definitely on my top 10 list. 1964's Ghidorah the Three-Headed Monster. So that's pretty much it with the first and only size comparison between all four monsters. If you're an X Plus collector and you have all these monsters here, put them together and you have yourself the best and probably the most perfect combination and setup to this awesome film, to Ghidorah the Three-Headed Monster. Trust me when I say that. So that's pretty much it with the first and only size comparison. So let's wrap up this review with the vast backstory on why this multicolored version of King Ghidorah exists. So let's go with that final commentary portion of the video right now. Okay, folks, I'm back with my final thoughts of the X Plus 25cm Ric Exclusive edition of the 1964 King Ghidorah from the iconic film from 1964. Well, the other iconic film from 1964, Ghidorah the Three-Headed Monster. Once again, they have done a phenomenal job. S Plus has created such a great figure with this King Ghidorah. I know a lot of folks really passed on this figure because it is kind of very similar to the 68 King Ghidorah, which I can understand that. But for the King Ghidorah fans, this was like a dream come true. They have done a phenomenal job, X Plus, with this version of King Ghidorah, from the sculpt, the retool sculpt, the paint job on the standard, the golden iconic paint scheme on the standard, the multicolor paint job here. I cannot say anything bad about this figure. This is such a great release, a monumental release, a spectacular release. X Plus, you've done a phenomenal job. Kudos for making that happen. Now, when they announced this figure, or when G. Okamoto, yes, I'm going to give him a huge shout out. How you doing, sir? Hope you're doing well. When he teased that they were going to do this, when they were going to retool the King Ghidorah 68 figure and make it into a 64 King Ghidorah, my mind already started wondering, okay, if they're going to do this, what Ric Exclusive edition or feature would they put with King Ghidorah 64? And I thought about maybe they were going to do a 1964 Mothra larva in 25cm scale, because we don't really have one. Now, mind you, this is the 68 Mothra larva. Even though it's exactly like the 64, it's not an official Mothra larva 64. You see what I'm saying? So I thought they were going to do that. Maybe take the already existing scope of the 68 Mothra larva and turn it into a 64. Maybe give it a darker paint job or whatever. I thought that was going to be the Ric Exclusive edition for King Ghidorah. Or they were going to do like a mini replica of the meteorite that King Ghidorah came to Earth in and crapped up out of and became born. You know what I'm saying? That meteorite. So I thought that was going to be the Ric feature of King Ghidorah. But then, I want to say late 2018, yes, at a Super Festival show, late 2018, I think either November or December. I remember it specifically because it was basically the King Ghidorah show. They not only showed the iconic golden painted standard version of King Ghidorah 64, they also showed this version of King Ghidorah, and they also teased a photograph of the upcoming, as I mentioned earlier, Mecha King Ghidorah from 1991's Godzilla vs. King Ghidorah. So that show was really the King Ghidorah show, which made me happy on so many different levels. And then after seeing the multicolored paint scheme here, it really got my mind wondering, like, okay, like, where did it come from? And then when people started pointing out it's based off the original poster, and then going back and looking at the poster and seeing King Ghidorah in a multicolored paint scheme, I was like, wow. And once again, I'm so amazed that that thing really slipped under my radar. You see what I'm saying? Now, mind you, I want to direct everybody to the awesome, brilliant article that my great friend John Bumpins from Screont.com, please go to his website, Screont.com, and he has a fascinating article behind the multicolored version of King Ghidorah 1964. I don't want to rehash the entirety of the article. I want everybody to go back and read the article for themselves, because it's a fascinating article behind this paint scheme of King Ghidorah. And the question is, were they going to really use this paint scheme for King Ghidorah? From what I gathered from the article, and if anybody knows more about the situation, please comment in the comment section. But from what I understand, King Ghidorah was always going to be golden. Now, in that article, you get some perspectives from my two great friends and my two great co-hosts of Collect All Monsters, Kyle Young and David Dopko. Gio Komodo makes a contribution to the article, and Keizo Murase, he's the guy that actually worked on the King Ghidorah suit back in 1964. He maintains that Ghidorah was always going to be gold, even though at first they were originally going to make him a crimson red color, right? But then the idea came to their heads, hey, since Ghidorah is from Venus, and in Japanese, Venus is looked upon as the golden star or the gold star, so they felt that maybe that his paint scheme should be golden. Now, where the blue multicolored version comes into play here, for what I understand from the article, is that they use latex to make the King Ghidorah suit, and I think they applied baby powder to it so the latex wouldn't stick. And combined with the studio lights, it gave off the impression that the suit was blue, and maybe somebody from the publicity department saw that version of King Ghidorah and the suit was not really finished yet, and just used that paint scheme, or at least that version of King Ghidorah, for their promotional materials. That's what I think what happened. You see what I'm saying? And quite frankly, Toho, at least back in the Showa days, you know, they were at least had a habit. Not every poster that they did this, but a few of their posters, they would put like the wrong kaiju on the posters of those movies. Like, for example, Godzilla Raids Again. In one poster, you see the actual 1954 Godzilla battling Anguirus. Now, the 1954 Godzilla does make an appearance in the film, courtesy of stock footage, but it's not the Godzilla that fought Anguirus. Or Mothra vs. Godzilla, my favorite film in the franchise. If you see that poster, if you look closely at Godzilla, that is really the 62 battling Mothra, even though it's not the Godzilla that fought Mothra in the film. Or how about this one, Godzilla vs. Megalon, right? You know, the first artistic poster to Godzilla vs. Megalon. And if you look closely at the Godzilla here, that's the 1966 Godzilla from Godzilla vs. the Sea Monster. Now, mind you, Godzilla from Godzilla vs. the Sea Monster does make an appearance in the film when Godzilla jumps in the water and makes a beeline towards Japan, but that was stock footage. So I think it's a situation with King Ghidorah here. They just, somebody from the department, the publicity department, saw this version of King Ghidorah and probably just added it to the posters to try to get more eyeballs to the product. That's what I think what happened. Now, whether they were going to use this this multicolored paint scheme for King Ghidorah, there's really no clear answer to that. You see what I'm saying? It's based off what I read from the article. There's no definitive answer that said that they were going to use this version of King Ghidorah. But at the same time, it's nice to wonder what would have happened if they did use this version of King Ghidorah. And why I held off for so long from acquiring this figure is, once again, like I said, I prefer having monsters from the movie to create the perfect setup. But at the same time, I look at monsters that are not exactly normal, like the normal trend of what a monster is supposed to look like. Like, for example, when it comes to Godzilla, I have Shin Godzilla, and he's not exactly normal. Godzilla 2000, the same thing. The Burning Godzilla, you see what I'm saying? So it doesn't hurt to step outside your comfort zone and go after pieces that tickle your fancy. And after debating about it for so long, I'm glad I came to the realization that I need to have this guy in my collection. So, if you're a King Ghidorah fan, if for nothing else, try and go after this figure, even if you do already have the standard, right? Please go after this figure. Once again, it's not just a figure of King Ghidorah. To me, I feel like I have a piece of Toho history. So it transcends from being just a vinyl collectible or a monster figure to being something that's a part of Toho's history. You see what I'm saying? And that's the biggest reason why I want to have this figure in my collection. But once again, this figure is such an amazing acquisition. It's an amazing piece. If you're a huge King Ghidorah fan, please do not hesitate to go after this figure, even if you already have the standard, the 1964 Ric Exclusive edition of King Ghidorah. Yes, 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 you would not be disappointed. So that pretty much concludes my review of the X Plus 25cm Ric Exclusive edition of the King Ghidorah 1964, based off his iconic appearance in the iconic Godzilla film from 1964, the other iconic Godzilla film from 1964, Ghidorah, the three-headed monster. Yes, yes, yes. If you have any questions, hop it down in the comment section. Hit me on Facebook via Let's Be Chambers. We'll definitely go from there. Yes, once again, oh man, this guy is awesome. This guy is so amazing. Wow, I'm glad that I finally got my hands on this figure. And quite frankly, by me having this figure. This figure in my collection is known as, of course, King Ghidorah, where I use the standard King Ghidorah 64 S Plus figure. I use him as Monster Zero. So I call this one King Ghidorah and the Go to one Monster Zero because basically they use the same suit from King Ghidorah into Monster Zero. Of course, I think some repairs have been made to the suit, quite frankly, but it's virtually somewhat of the same suit. You see what I'm saying? So yes, this one's King Ghidorah. My standard is Monster Zero. And I mentioned earlier, I would tell you my top 3 favorite X Plus King Ghidorah figures in my collection. Number 1 is, of course, the standard version of King Ghidorah 64. I just love that figure. I really, really do. You see what I'm saying? Number 2 is this guy. Yes, this guy. I love this guy so much. Even though I love the paint scheme of the iconic golden one even more, because that's how we associate King Ghidorah, quite frankly. So that's why I love the standard more. But he is a solid number 2. And number 3 is the flying one. I love the flying King Ghidorah. And as it stands right now, I have, what, 9 King Ghidorahs in my collection. And I'm probably going to have 11 when it's all said and done, because I told you they're doing, hopefully at some point, a Mecha King Ghidorah 1991. And based off the announcement of the 25 centimeter Godzilla 2019, you can only imagine that probably they're going to do a King Ghidorah Monsterverse at some point. So if we get those 2, I'm going to have, what, 11 King Ghidorahs? 33 heads? Oh my God. Because as it stands right now, I have 3 64s, 2 68s, Death Ghidorah, GMK Ghidorah, Kaiser Ghidorah, and I had the Death for Real Monsterverse King Ghidorah. So yeah, I'm a fan. You can't blame me, because once again, King Ghidorah is my most favorite villain of all time. And this is such an awesome piece. So trust me, if you can track one down for a good price, please do not hesitate to get your hands on this figure, the S Plus 25 centimeter Ric Exclusive Edition or standard version of the 1964 King Ghidorah. And you know what? I've been seeing him pop up a lot. At the time of this recording, it is what, June the 7th, 2020? And I've been seeing him pop up a lot. 2 places I know where you can get him. You can get him from the Godzilla store in Japan. I know they have like a few in stock on their website, so go there. Or go to my great friend, Jason Wellings, awesomecollector.com. I saw he has a few in stock on his website as well. So trust me, if you're a fan of King Ghidorah, if you're a fan of this sculpt, if you're a fan of this multicolored paint scheme of what we probably could have gotten in the franchise, if you're a fan of this, please do not hesitate to go after this figure, whether it's through Jason Williams, awesomecollector.com, or the Godzilla store. Either way, do not hesitate to get your hands on this figure. The X Plus 25 centimeter 1964 King Ghidorah Ric Exclusive Edition from Ghidorah, the 3-headed monster. Yes, yes, yes. So thanks so much for watching. I appreciate it. And I will see y'all again on next figure move review. All right? Y'all take it easy.